Hook. I got escorted off a first-class flight in front of 200 people, and in that exact moment, I understood something ugly about how power works. One loud voice can flip the script on a quiet truth. You'd think it was about a suitcase. Yeah, that happened. But it wasn't. It was about being seen as less than then deciding not to be silent about it. My name is Claire Mercer, not my real name, but roll with me. And I've spent my life making systems bend. I build mergers, I untangle corporate knots, I write contracts for companies that make headlines. On a Tuesday morning, I was supposed to be on my way to finalize a deal worth more than most people will see in a lifetime. I was wearing the suit, carrying the briefcase, and feeling that peculiar calm confidence that comes from having prepared for everything. I was also black. That fact in the eyes of one woman in a uniform would end up being the entire story. I boarded. Priority walked down the jet bridge, slid into seat 6B, and found the overhead bin above my row taken by a ridiculous red duffel stuffed sideways like it owned the plane. The man in the window, let's call him Mr. Hale, was asleep in his expensive headphones. I had my compact roller bag that met the airline's rules, and there was clearly space if his bag were oriented properly. So I tapped his shoulder, pointed, asked him politely to turn it. He scoffed, mumbled some nonsense about "it fits," and went back to his screen. Okay, fine. I asked again. Calm, businesslike. He got louder. He shoved the air with a hand. People shifted in the aisle. You could feel the small, stupid electricity of entitlement. That's when the lead flight attendant arrived. Her name tag said Sandra, and she looked like someone who'd been promoted right into the apology department for life. Her hair was pulled tight. Her smile was the kind you practice. She took one look at me in the red bag, and I swear if looks could broadcast sound, hers said, "There she is." I explained slow and precise. "This is the overhead for rows 6A and 6B. His bag is blocking mine. If he turns it, we'll both fit. It's airline policy. Standard zero drama." She glanced, then turned her attention to Mr. Hale, suddenly warm and conciliatory. "Sir, are you comfortable?" And then snapped to me so fast it felt like someone had flipped a light switch. "You need to sit down." She barked a command, not a request. "You're holding up boarding." I remember the hush, that anticipatory silence where other people's attention becomes currency, and how small it made me feel for a moment. Then the tone changed. Sandra's voice went certifiably cruel. "I've had it with people like you," she said loud enough that several people turned. Her face twisted like she'd been waiting to say it for a very long time. "People like you." The words landed like a gavel. You could see the judgment written on faces, feel the isolation. All for asking a grown man to orient his bag. Now, you've probably heard the scripts. Passenger refuses to comply, crew acts, flight delayed. But that wasn't what happened. I was calm. I was not a threat. I said measured and crisp, "I'm a counsel on this transaction. I have privileged materials in that bag. I cannot have it checked." Her eyes narrowed. "That's not my problem," she said. "If you're not going to follow crew instructions, we will have to remove you." There are two ways to be in a situation like that. You can respond in the moment and risk escalating into confrontation, or you can collect proof and take the fight where it actually matters. My training, and let's be honest, my whole life of being the person who reads rulings at 3 a.m, told me to document. So I hit record on my phone, slid it into my jacket, and kept my voice low. Not passive, not apologetic. Low and precise. I let her escalate. She ranted. She called for the captain. She yelled about entitled people and disrespect. She accused me of refusing instructions. The plane went quiet. People reached for their phones. Someone filmed the 5-second version and posted it with a dismissive caption, "Another diva meltdown, flight delayed." That clip exploded in minutes. But I kept recording. 12 minutes and 43 seconds of clear audio and video from a low angle that captured everything from Sandra's face down to the way security officers approached. When security arrived, they had the power of procedure. They told me I had to deplane. They didn't ask to hear my recording. They didn't check the bag. They acted on a report, their report, that cast me as the disruptor. I was told to leave, told I could file a complaint later. But later is where things get buried, so I walked off the plane and into the terminal holding evidence in my pocket. I did what professionals do. I called my partner. I uploaded the file and we sent it straight up the chain. Within the hour, the airline's legal team had a copy. Within 2 hours, the CEO had watched Sandra shout, "I've had it with people like you." Within the day, a full, unedited video was out. You could hear the contempt, see the confiscation of my roller bag, see Sandra tag it and hand it to baggage handlers with a smile like she'd just delivered a verdict. For every edited one-liner meant to humiliate me, there was a 12-minute truth calm and methodical that told the whole story. The fallout was seismic. The company's PR nightmare would have made better copy in an unusually cruel script. The client we were set to close with, a major tech firm who had been about to sign a huge travel contract, paused, then pulled. Stock price hiccuped. Executives whispered about liability reputation boardroom pressure. Sandra was suspended pending investigation. Mr. Hale made his social posts private and then vanished from the internet. The airline scrambled. They issued statements. They called for sensitivity training. They published an apology, a corporate wash that felt too late and too small. We didn't settle for too late. We litigated, but we also negotiated terms meant to force institutional change. No NDA that silenced the truth. A public apology on the front page funding to community legal aid, new mandatory training vetted by Civil Rights Council, and a written policy change. Any removal for non-compliance requires a captain-level review and a contemporaneous report, not simply a crew claim. They called it the Mercer Protocol, an ugly little thing that now bore my name, but I took it anyway because the point wasn't vanity. It was prevention. The things people assumed would happen did and didn't. Sandra lost her job, yes, but she also faced an investigation that revealed more than one prior complaint. Mr. Hale's employer reached a quiet settlement with their PR department. The airline's market cap took a hit. But the real shift was cultural. 200 strangers on a plane who saw a woman told she didn't belong, saw her walk off, then watched the truth land in front of the world. The court of public opinion is messy, but it also moves mountains when the evidence is clear. Here's the part I need you to sit with. There is power in having the wherewithal to document and in having the resources to make that documentation matter. That is a truth and also a problem. Because what about the people who don't have a law firm on call, or whose jobs are precarious, or who are told the same thing but don't have a phone that records or don't know the law? This story isn't a magic wand. It's a map for those who can use it and a spotlight on the ones left in the dark. So, what do you think? Was this justice karma, a lucky trajectory for a woman who had the tools to fight back? Or did the spectacle of it all risk turning real pain into entertainment? Drop a comment. Tell me if you'd have acted the same way in that aisle, or if you'd hold back. Have you seen something like this in real life? Share it. Argue. Tell me where I was wrong. If you found this story worth hearing, like, share, and subscribe, because these stories belong to public conversation, not private silence.